Hey, so this is Blaze and this is Dave, and we're here at the Hippie Kitchen, which is located on 6th Street and Gladys, which is in the heart of downtown LA. This is a location, an oasis. It's an oasis, and this is a location where people come and they're comfortable. And this gentleman right here, and I do mean gentleman, this gentleman David right here, today is Sunday morning, and he opened up the garden, he's providing coffee, relaxation, we have water, birds, and beauty. And these are some of the elements that people in Skid Row really and truly need. So what we're going to do, I'm going to step out of the picture and see what the LA Catholic worker is about here at the Hippie Kitchen, which is truly named the Hospitality Kitchen.
That's right.
All right, so here's David.
Blaze gave a really great introduction. We're downtown on Skid Row at the Hippie Kitchen, and this is the location that the Los Angeles Catholic worker community has been serving out for, I don't remember the exact dates. You probably know better than I do.
Okay, let me come in. So let me give you a little update. I'm gonna film a little. I try not to film people at all, but so this beautiful garden happened after an earthquake in the early
that's right,
70s.
in the 70s.
So the earthquake stopped them from being inside. So it wasn't as beautiful or anything, but they realized outside was healthier and beautiful. And so they prayed, got together. Mother Teresa and other people got together and helped them raise awareness to the need of this little utopia. So two of the primary people there now have been there well over 40 years.
That's right.
So it's quite a commitment. And I was interviewing Kathleen Morris about 3 years ago, and she let it out. I said, well, how much do you make? She said, $15 a week. I said, what, after 40 years? She said, that's
well,
right.
they bumped it up. It was $15 a week. They bumped it up to 25 about a year ago.
Oh, really?
It was 15 for about 15 years.
40 years, $25 a week. So truly, this isn't about money like so many nonprofits. This doesn't even run like a nonprofit. So it's a very unique thing. And I guess to talk a little bit about the Catholic worker,
sure,
I'll let David do that. Since I've taken over the interview.
So this down here on Skid Row, this is the focus of what we do. Is really, this is the essence, the mission, or the focus of what we do, to be down here, to share with people, to share the abundance that we have shared with us, and to be able to come and commune with people in a peaceful environment and create, like Blaze said, an oasis from out there on Skid Row where they don't really have any respite. So that's the most important thing to us. And along with that is, so that's service, and then resistance and activism, I guess, because we also have a political analysis and an economic analysis of how this situation comes about. And we believe, according to the founder, Dorothy Day, we practice the works of mercy according to Catholic tradition, which is to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, care for the sick, bury the dead, care for children. I don't remember all of them exactly and in what order, but feed the hungry, clothe the naked, care for the sick, bury the dead. Those are the big ones. I've been doing this myself for about seven years. Yeah, going on 8 years. That's right.
I've been doing this for 7 years in general. What is this?
This right here on Skid Row, that I do. The community opens this garden 3 times a week. It's open from 9:30 to noon on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And during that time, we serve anywhere between 800 to 1,500 people a plate of mainly beans and rice, and that's really It's a healthy, you know, protein-filled dish, and bread. That's the staple: beans or rice and bread, and salad. So that's, you know, that's a nice.
And the best water in Skid Row.
Yeah, and really, really cold water. That's another staple at the Hippie Kitchen. And then we get a lot of, you know, donations sometimes, extras. We have come in different things like sweets or cakes or fruit. We have a lot of fruit and veggie come in from different places around the city, and that's really nice to be able to share with people fresh fruit and fresh vegetable.
Let me jump in for 1 second. So anyway, let's also talk a little deeper about Dorothy Day. One of the philosophies that she had, because these Catholic workers are all over the United States. I don't even think people know how many there are, you know. So, and they're all run different, over 200, and they all run differently. They're based in general, just do what you can do when you can do it. But one of the main things she was against was getting non-profits, getting loans, becoming indoctrinated with the government. So, of course, if you want to donate something, this is a magnificent place, but it's not a tax write-off. They don't get involved with the system of society. They do what each person can do.
I don't remember who. I got this quote in my head, and I don't remember where it comes from. You might be able to put a name on it, but it goes something along the lines of like, when I give the hungry food, or when I give the poor food, they call me a saint. When I ask why the poor have no food, they call me a communist. You know, so that's the kind of.
That one was Dorothy Day.
That was, you know, Dorothy?
Yeah, that particular one, I'm pretty sure because I've done shows on her and did a lot of research, right? Yeah. And so let's just say Dorothy Day, I think one of the best ways to see her is to see her sitting down, you know, resistance, peaceful resistance, with policemen all around with guns. And all she's asking for is human rights.
That's right. And we asking, you know, we vigil every day. That's a big part of the Los Angeles Catholic worker, is that there's at least one person 6 days out of the week who spends an hour vigiling against war and injustice. And that's what we feel, that at least here in the United States of America, and it's a problem all around the world, but that we're spending 2/3 of our budget on weapons, on mass destruction, on military expenditure, on nuclear plants.
Yeah, the old Roman thing.
You know, the works of war, right? Versus instead of taking care of the people that, you know, need to be taken care of. And we see, it was just in Los Angeles County, here and recently, is 13,000 new homeless people every month, just in the county of Los Angeles.
Clearly the system's not working.
Yeah, you gotta ask.
All right, now I've been speaking with David, and we've talked a little bit. This is very brief because it's a 7-year period, right? So it's very brief. But I will say that, you know, his fellow. Let's talk a little bit about what happens at the Hennessy House. The whole, you use the term community. Let's talk about the Catholic worker community, how that works.
Okay. So the Catholic worker community itself is a core of dedicated volunteers who have committed their lives to service. And like Blaze alluded to earlier, that means voluntary poverty, essentially. They make $25 a week. And then
not in it for the money, just for the love.
Yeah, we publish a bi-monthly. That means every other month. I had to figure that out. I used to think bi-monthly meant twice a month, but it means every other month. So
it's so funny you're saying that, because I always thought that myself. Okay.
Right.
I'm cool with it.
Yeah. So
and the writer of this,
and Jeff is the editor. He's been the editor for about 40 years now.
And he's just released several books. I'll put his name under this when we do it.
That's right.
All right, so now I'm actually doing this interview, and I have to go rush off to be with the Black Panthers, the original Black Panthers. Wow. But anyway, so I'm actually doing this interview because Dave is only here briefly for a little while. And so many of you, I wanted it to go like this, where you have a conversation with David to see what he's doing over here in the heart of Skid Row. But now, David, tell us your full name and where you're from.
Okay. Well, my full name is actually, my first name is Michael David Odhiambo Omondi, and I was born in Nairobi, in Kenya. That's in East Africa. And I was born and raised in Nairobi, and I came to the States. My mother's from Ohio, so that's why I was able to come over here to go to college. And so when I was 16, I started going to college, and over time I became exposed to the fact, or more aware of the fact, that this is a filthy, rotten system, and I began to understand the marginalization that I experienced, or that I witnessed, of the vast majority of people in Kenya, where I grew up, where 80% of the people live below the poverty line. And then I would come over to the United States and see ridiculous wealth throughout this country, and I began to make the global connections, you know, that people have because other people don't have, right? So I grew up in Kenya, and it was after maybe 6 or 7 years of living in the States that I first found the Catholic, 6 years that I found the Catholic Worker and joined the Catholic Worker in Orange County. And then after being here for about 5 years, I moved back to Nairobi because
he's only here for a wedding.
Yeah, I came over for a wedding.
So that's why I want to rush to get this interview before he goes back.
I'm also here to serve coffee in the garden.
Oh yeah, and that's what this orange, brown containers are, so people can feel free. And it's really very interesting coffee because it's already mixed with cream and sugar. So that's it. You better like cream and sugar. So tell us a little bit about the project you were working on. Was it Kenya or Nairobi?
Yeah.
Is Nairobi as high up?
Nairobi is
lower because of the city, huh?
It's high. It's high out. It's
I'm dying to go.
It's 1,500 meters above sea level. 1,500 meters above sea level.
Yeah.
So they say Nairobi is the best climate in the world. It's like,
oh, is that right?
It doesn't get too hot, doesn't get too cold. But
one day. So tell us a little bit about the personal project that you, I believe, have been successful at.
Well, the project I am working on, I'm still working on.
So we're in this thing where you hear people in Los Angeles, you hear them every day on the radio, television, we're in a severe drought. But do you see anybody conserving water?
No.
So they don't really know what a drought is.
No, they don't.
Right?
No.
So now let's talk about the project.
Yeah, so thankfully after being here 5 years, I was able to raise money from volunteers and well-wishers who I'd gotten to know over 5 years, and use that money to go back home. And our family at home was able to get some land right inside the Rift Valley. That's about an hour outside of Nairobi, the capital city of Kenya, and that's in a Maasai area. I don't know if you've ever heard.
Maasai, aren't they? Yeah. Are they the ones that jump or something?
They jump.
They're tall.
They herd cattle. They're warriors.
Cattle. That's it, with the thing, the cattle, and they're orange and all that.
They depend on cows and goats for their whole economy. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The red they have the red checkered.
It's like I can see. It's so interesting. But okay.
Yeah. So in that particular area of the Rift Valley, it's been 5 years of drought. I mean, very, very little rainfall.
Like in the Bible, drought.
Very, very little rainfall. And, their cows, they lost like 60% of their herds, so their economy, their community is really struggling for lack of water. And we're blessed to be able to raise the money to drill a borehole, which is a really, really deep well. I had to get a drilling rig, big old truck, big old semi-truck with a generator on the back and a drill rig to drill. They had told us that it would be 100 meters, but it came out to 330 meters. So that's 1,100 feet in the ground to find water. So it was an expensive hole to dig. And so now it's a blessing to have that water. When they drilled it, they did the test pumping, so we were able to get some water, and then when they installed the pump, they did another test pumping, so we got some water, and that water has been shared with the community. We're still in the next phase of the project, which is to install power so that we can pump water regularly, right?
Power?
Yeah.
I hadn't even considered that. I'm so condition here in America. I see.
Dude,
like,
you got
I think,
power everywhere.
Where's the plug?
Yeah.
You know.
But
Like right now we're plugged in. There's happen to be a plug.
There's so much bureaucracy to jump through there to get the power. You know, government says that all the citizens are supposed to have cheap access to power, but the ministry is corrupt, and the officials are looking for kickbacks. And so
I hear about that in so many different places where things are corrupt. But at the same time, we say America is corrupt. But it seems to me that if you're persistent enough, that you can overcome corruption in
absolutely.
America. Right?
Well,
but the way people speak is like that's just the way it is in a lot of other countries. I don't know. But
well, I do believe that corruption is the general state of things all over the world.
Yeah.
It may be more visible in say Kenya than it is in the United States, but I think it's more pernicious.
Power should be used.
It's more pernicious in places where it's less visible. You know, in places where it's more visible, you just kind of understand what it is. You know, but that aside, you know, we're expecting to have power within the year.
So the power allows so the pump's not getting as much as what it needs because it doesn't have power.
The pump it's got to pump water 270 meters up out of the ground, and so the water comes up like 100 meters on its own pressure, but then the rest of that 170 is a long way to go, you know. So it needs three-phase power. We can't just hook up a solar panel or a wind turbine. We got to be connected to the grid. Now, it's a blessing though that
I was going to suggest those two choices. Okay.
It's a blessing actually that when we will be hooked up to the grid, that we'll be getting water directly from a wind farm and a geothermal plant. So we're not going to be
exciting. Ballpark figure, how many acres do you think
the project sits on? The project sits on 3 acres. So we got 3 acres of land where we're going to do
your family.
The project, the hospitality project, is called Amani House.
You want to tell me?
I'm sorry. It's Amani House. It's
Ooh, I love it.
Amani means.
So you're doing a hospitality house.
Yeah.
Theme.
That's right.
Of your own back in Africa.
Yeah. Starting with water.
Dorothy Day would be so happy. She'd probably be tickled to death.
I would.
To see how this thing keeps flourishing, because it's somewhat of a quiet. It's almost like you'd have to know about it, and yet it's flourishing for people that don't have a representative.
That's the way to think of it.
That might be why you don't really hear about them. But me, after studying it, I see how they pop up all over, but each one is different.
It's organic. It's organic, and it's from the ground up, from the bottom up.
I love this.
Yeah.
So are you going to need more? Besides the power, how can I put it? It seems to me that if they drill more holes, there would be more water and a quicker recovery for the cattle.
Well, there's also the question of the water table. You know, one of the problems in California is that you've drilled too many holes, and they've taken out so much of the groundwater that, you know, places like the Joaquin Valley has sunk 1 foot in the last year because it's taken out all the groundwater. Now, we don't want to have that problem in Kenya, so we don't want to take out too much of the groundwater. But the water that we do have, we're going to want to use it wisely to benefit the community and benefit.
I had imagined that with the mountain ranges that I'm imagining that are in Kenya, that water would have ran down.
It does run
real well. I mean, really well.
There are a lot of short wells, but there in the Rift Valley, you got to go really deep. Really deep to get water.
What does Rift Valley mean?
The Rift Valley is
think about it.
Okay.
Sounds beautiful.
It's 2 tectonic plates, the African plate and the Eurasian plate, or is it the Indian plate? Yeah, they're splitting apart. They're pulling apart. So basically, in 5,000 years, East Africa is going to be an island, right? But basically, the Rift Valley runs from the Jordan up in the Middle East, all the way through the Red Sea, through Egypt, through Sudan, Ethiopia, Kenya, Uganda, Mozambique, run through 5 countries, the Great Rift Valley. And then it's where those 2 plates are separating, one's pulling off into the Indian Ocean. That's where they say that, all of humanity comes from.
So in any event, I'm going to have to end this. I'm going to come to the house. Hey, shorty. And what I'm gonna do is have Shorty take a few quick pictures. There you go. We're gonna stand like right over there watching the foot. And just take a few of us. Try not to drop my camera.
Drop his telephone.
So everybody, I'm just about finished. I'm off to another engagement, but I really wanted to do this interview just the way we did. You just see a small section in the background because there's people here relaxing. I never film in here. So this is one of the few times we're but you can just see from the background the beauty. This is in the heart of Skid Row. It's like a righteous utopia, and people come here so peaceful. Well, most of the time.
Most of the time.
Most of the time. Had a rough time the other week in the heat, but for the most part, this is just unheard of.
Ready?
Yeah.
Oh man, it comes in clear too.
Yeah.
Good. I mean, that location, you know. Oh yeah, I went up there once, and I think I got some clothes or something, you know, and you know, it was very good.
How long have you been eating here at the Hippie Kitchen?
Oh God, man, you know what? I've been eating here good 25, 30 years. I remember when it used to go from here all the way down behind the wine garden through the alley. Through the alley, okay? And that's been better than 25 years.
Yeah, I remember they used to really have the truck out a lot too.
Oh, and you know what? They, if I might elaborate a little bit, they had sleeping quarters up here at one time.
There was before the earthquake, there was a whole other house above the kitchen.
Yes, they cut that off. They cut that off, you know, so it's been some changes.
We also want to point out that for quite some time, they always on Sundays would have chess. We know anything about chess?
Well, matter of fact, I do. I do. I'm the doctor. Yeah, I do.
He said, I am the doctor.
Well, that's just a psychological thing, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, you know, you come here, like you say, you know, the environment, atmosphere, you know, occasionally it's like the Garden of Eden, like the Michael Land, Jackson Neverland. Somewhere you see squirrels running around occasionally, you know.
And the parrots, don't forget the parrots.
Yes, the parrots.
Hey, Shorty, thanks a whole lot. And David, I'm gonna have to catch my next appointment, but this was perfect, just what I wanted. Lays out.